expecting it. You know, I mean, the light's red, everybody sees it. Whoa, they go through the red light. I'm going, holy crap. I had to look at the light. I'm like, well, it damn sure did. I mean, it happens to us too. You know, if you're not expecting something, you're not expecting it. It's out of the norm. So we have a hard time realizing what happens. It takes us a minute. So what we want to do is stop that denial period, narrow it down. You hear something, it sounded like gunshots. Let's make the decision it was gunshots. If we talk about this shit gunshots, let's do it as if it was gunshots and take care of that person. If it's the maintenance people down there with a hammer beating on a damn pipe, you know what we're going to do? We're going to scare the hell out of them. Shots down here with guns. So happen. Accept that as reality. Paris happened yesterday while we were teaching this class. It happened. It's happened here before. Anybody remember the time? That won't be the last time, guys. We're going to experience this again. My wife was so wonderful. After 30 years of being up there, I was so sick of down here. We love it out here. And I just could not wait to get out of here. And she was gracious enough to say, we can move. Still not how to get a job, though. You ain't moving without a job. So here I am. I got a job. So I got to move out here. But we still go back to Dallas. Is Dallas a terrorist threat center? Absolutely. It's a huge target. So we could have attack. You can be in Dallas. You don't have to be here in Tyler, Texas. You can be in Dallas and have this crap go bad on you. So it's about being prepared for the event no matter where you're at. And understand it could happen, accept that it's going to happen, and let's move on. We're also going to talk about the phenomenon of social proof, that we are social animals. We tend to do what the crowd does. If everybody's doing something, that's kind of the norm that's been set by the crowd. That's what we do. We accept the norm, we usually go along with the norm. This is a videotaped experiment of how people react to certain events they see that's outside the norm. You're going to be shocked by this. It's not graphic, it's just kind of sad.
Place like this street in New York City, if you were unfortunate enough to be the victim of a crime or taken ill unexpectedly, you might think that surrounded by all these people, someone would intervene. After all, isn't there safety in numbers? Psychologists say no. Research suggests that often a victim is less likely to receive assistance when surrounded by a group rather than a single bystander. When people are in a crowd, it's easier to pass the buck. It's what psychologists call the diffusion of responsibility. Liverpool Street Station in London, a busy thoroughfare for commuters. Unknown to these passers-by, Peter is an actor. As part of an experiment on bystander apathy, he's pretending to be ill. How long before he gets help? Helping would be inconvenient or even risky. He lies there for more than 20 minutes and no one raises an eyebrow.
20 minutes!
It's always very distressing to watch situations like this where people are obviously suffering and no one's actually helping them. But what we have here is two conflicting rules. One is the rule we ought to help, and the other is the rule that we ought to do what everybody else is doing. And here you have effectively a group of strangers who are exerting the pressure not to intervene, not to help, and it's very difficult to rebel.
Ruth, another actor, takes Peter's place. How long before she receives help? Unwittingly, these strangers have silently formed a temporary group with a rule: don't get involved. They're afraid to stand out from the crowd and won't take action if no one else does. This woman has clearly spotted Ruth, but she conforms to the rule and does nothing. Watch what happens, though, when someone else helps.
You all right?
Yes, thank you.
Sure, a little bit.
She suddenly finds herself in a different group with a new rule: to help.
Well, sit up. You all right? Yeah. That's right.
Don't thought she was dead.
time, Peter's dressed as a respectable gentleman. Now that his dress is in keeping with those around him, how long before he's rescued?
Hello, sir. How are you today? I'm all right.
6 seconds. She even calls him sir, and suddenly everyone's a good Samaritan.
Do you have to admit this?
No.
Why you're lying on the floor in rain?
Because he's part of the right group. Everyone wants to help.
I would just hate to be in his position of feeling ill and nobody helping him walking past, so just like to check that he was okay. So I thought when it's wet, so he must be ill because he's going to ruin the suit anyway.
He must be really ill because he's going to ruin his suit on the ground. That's why he wanted to help him. I can tell you this, if you ever go to London and you're going to fall out, put your suit on, because you're going to be in trouble if you don't. You think that can happen here in Tyler, Texas? Yeah, we're no different than those people. We like to think we are. Now, we're friendly in Texas. We'll say howdy, we'll wave, all that other stuff. We'll ask you how you're doing. Most of the time we don't care, but we'll ask. The society is the same all around the world. We don't want to get involved. We do what everybody else is doing. We want to conform to what the group is doing. All right, so we talked about denial. We know we got to get out of denial as quickly as possible so we can move on. Now we're going to move to deliberation, the second part of this. Deliberation. In deliberation, it's like, all right, we heard gunshots in the hall. Now what? What are we going to do? First plan here, let's run. Let's get out of here. Is that deliberation? Yeah, we're making up a plan. How are we going to handle this? What are we going to do? So now we're deliberating, trying to come up with a plan. And I will tell you, in the middle of it, under stress, is that plan going to be easy to come up with? No, no, no. When is the best time to make your plan? Before it ever happens. Before it ever happens. So now we can get out of denial quickly, and we ain't going to spend a whole lot of time in deliberation because we already know what we're going to do. So we can move on. And time is our enemy here, right? The sooner we get through this, the sooner we act, the better our chances are of surviving the incident. So that's what we're trying to deal with here. Now then, how does stress affect us? In law enforcement, we've done this for a long time. We talked about these different conditions. Condition white through condition black. Condition white, guys, you'll get this at home. You're sitting on your couch, you're watching your favorite car show on TV, the wife's nowhere around, life is good, there's no stress, right? You're very relaxed. You're just zoomed in here, ain't nothing else going on. We're focused, we're relaxed. That's condition white. Condition yellow. We're alert, we're aware, something's going on. We maybe respond to a call, a 911 call, we're en route over there, we bump up condition yellow. We're starting to think about what we're getting into. Our heart rate comes up, a little stress. In condition yellow, we're already starting to lose some of our fine motor skills. Being able to write, manipulate small tools, working with our hands. So we're losing some of that. But our body is preparing for the incident. This is not a bad thing here. We move on to condition red. This is the optimal physical condition you will be in during the fight, right here. Our heart is moving. We have started restricting blood flow to our extremities. So if we're injured, we'll bleed less, and we're keeping all that blood in our core, where our organs are, where we need it. Our body is an amazing piece of work. The mind and how it works is crazy. It's unbelievable what God made when He made us. All right? The brain has the ability to take powers from different parts of the body and redistribute it wherever it thinks it needs it. And when we get into condition red here, when our heart rate starts getting up, our respiration starts going up, we're starting to get a little stressed, the body's reacting to that. The body is preparing us to fight, preparing us to survive this attack, this incident. So that's what it's doing right here. Now then, once we start moving into condition gray here, now we're starting to lose gross motor skills. We're starting to panic a little bit. We're getting overwhelmed by the moment. Our heart rate is accelerated too much. Our breathing is too much. We are starting to lose control. What's going to happen now, we're going to talk about our mental stage, is we're moving from our forebrain to our midbrain. In our forebrain is where we have rational thought. Our complex problem-solving abilities occur in our forebrain. Our midbrain goes back to our basic survival skills. And we're going to talk about that here in just a second. But that's where we're going. When we get into condition black here, where are we? We've panicked, we've frozen, we can't do anything. We are locking down. We are completely paralyzed, physically and mentally. We are no longer capable of rational thought and action. We have let ourselves panic so much that we have lost control. Speaking of losing control, has anybody ever heard or talked about or witnessed somebody being so scared they peed themselves? Or they defecated in their pants? Had nothing to do with fear. It was a stress. I told you that the mind can take powers from the body and redistribute it where it needs it to help manage the crisis. That's what it's doing. Well, it takes some powers to control your bladder and your rectum. The body's under so much stress now, it is under threat, it is under attack. The brain says, I ain't got time to worry about you peeing your pants right now. I need that resource. I'm going to redistribute that resource somewhere else in the body because I'm trying to keep you alive. And that's why that happens. It's nothing with fear. It's about survival. It's the body taking control, involuntarily trying to save your butt. It's not worried about you being embarrassed. It's trying to save you here. And so that's what's happening here in condition black. Now then, we don't need to be in condition black, do we? If we panic, we're no good to ourselves or anybody else around us. So we have to control that. We talked about the human brain and how it works. The human brain is very large, it's very complex. We have the most ability for reasonable thought is in any animal on earth. We have the most advanced brain. The forebrain, the human brain, works slowly. When we start processing through and trying to solve problems, it takes us a while, right? Anybody here want to do a math problem right now? Yeah. But you gotta stop, you gotta start figuring it out like, okay, I don't know, I don't care. All right? But rational, reasonable thought and forebrain, it takes us a while. It's not a natural instinct. We see a problem, we confront it, we start processing through it, we deal with it. This takes time. The lizard brain is extremely basic, very small, very tiny. There's only so much it can do. It does the basic things. And when we talk about the lizard brain, we're talking about our midbrain. This is what it controls. Fight, flight, or freeze. Because that's what it's trying to do. It's trying to survive. Now, can it make those decisions extremely fast? So can we when we revert to that part, right? If it's time to run, we run. Now, I don't run as fast as I used to, but I can make the decision to run pretty quick. You know, if I need to go, I need to go. Do we see animals freezing in the wild? Anybody almost stepped on a cottontail rabbit before? That's their instinct for survival. They freeze. When there's a predator or a threat around them, they freeze, they don't move. Because what do we notice? How do we ever see the rabbit? Movement. We see movement. As predators, that's what we see. We pick up on movement. We don't necessarily see the rabbit. We see the rabbit move, then we got it. So the rabbit's survival instinct is to freeze. In panic, we'll freeze too. Because we can't think of anything else to do, so we do nothing. And doing nothing will get you killed. So we got to stay out of that condition black, and we've got to process, we've got to train our brain, one, to deal with the stress better. So we can keep that urge from going to our midbrain and stay in our forebrain. To use our human brain, not our lizard brain. But we can also train the lizard brain to do more things than just this. We were talking to police officers yesterday, and a lot of you people in here are CHL guys. You've carried your guns for a long time, you've owned guns your whole life. If a threat presents itself to you, how long does it take you to jerk that pistol out of that holster? Do you even think about it? I mean, it's a reaction. It's like flight, fight, or freeze. You have trained your midbrain, your lizard brain, to add that reaction there, where we can a threat comes out all of a sudden, they scare the crap out of me. That pistol is out of that holster. I mean, I don't even know how I got out there so fast. It just happens. I didn't think about it. It was a reaction. So we can train the lizard brain, our midbrain, to do other things besides just this, which is a good thing, right? So we need to work on that. That's part of our deliberation. That's part of our pre-planning if we're going to be in one of these events, to start training ourselves to be prepared for that event. When we train police officers how to do stuff, and we drill them over and over and over, so when the crisis moment hits for them, they don't panic, they just react. Here, where people didn't plan ahead, panic ensued, and we was, Dwight was in concert at this little club, the station stage in there. It's not very big. They had over 400 people crammed into that place that night. Great White was putting on a show, and they had pyrotechnics on the stage in this stupid rinky-dink little nightclub. And all around the stage was all the curtains and the drapery and all this other stuff. So guess what happens when it's out the pyrotechnics? This door right here, this is the main entrance. Very narrow set of double doors coming in here, right? And then we got this hard turn to get into the club. Everybody came in the building that way. What happens if there's a fire? How do we get out of here? The only thing they knew when the fire broke out was what? Where they came from. Y'all see a problem, right? So just let's plan, hey, in case things go bad, how are we going to get the heck out of here? Here's the stage. This is where the fire first started. There is an exit right here. All these people up here by the stage could have went out that door right there. That's where the band went out. They were the only people to go out that door. The fire spread very quickly, and very quickly this door became inaccessible. Because all this stage here was on fire, and it didn't take more than about 30 seconds, and you couldn't get out this door anymore. Also, we have a door here off the main bar, a door off the kitchen. Now, this door back here, if you didn't work here, you're probably going to have a hard time knowing that's there and finding that deal. But we got exit here, we've got an exit here, we've got an exit here. And this station that was rolling, he filmed the. Here's the fireworks. It's already setting the curtains on fire here. The fire is going. There's still before. All right, see how quickly it's spreading? Now I say, oh crap.